Watching Avatar The Last Airbender for the first time. Hi, I'm Taya, one half of Your Little Sisters Productions. I'm a writer, director, and storyteller. If this is the first time you're seeing this series, no worries, here's what you need to know. Dante Basco is an incredible voice actor with plenty of characters under his belt. However, he will always be Rufio to me. So, if I call your favorite character Rufio, I'm sorry, but Zuko is simply Rufio in another life, and you can't convince me otherwise. But also, I'm just really bad at remembering names. Sorry. I've seen the M. Night Shaman version, and I know some spoilers for the end of the show, but this is my first time watching the actual show itself. So, part 5 is episodes 15 through 18, and now episode 15. Bato of the Water Tribe. Bato? I don't remember. In this episode, the gang uses Sokka's amazing tracking skills to track down a Water Tribe boat like a boss. Seriously, Sokka is the most useful character. The gang meets up with Batu or Bato, I'm bad with names, a warrior who was with Sokka and Katara's father when he left to fight in the war. They swap stories, and through a miscommunication, Aang is afraid the two siblings will leave him and join their father, and he intercepts the letter telling them where the father is. Sokka is given the rite of passage he was always meant to have before his father left. He passes with flying colors, and Aang breaks down and tells them the truth about the letter. All the while, Rufio is tracking them down using a bounty hunter and her giant rat creature. They find her arm wrestling with Ryu from Street Fighter. Am I wrong? The animal she's using can track down any smell, so Rufio uses Katara's necklace to find the avatar. But when the truth about Aang hiding the letter comes to light, the siblings and he separate, and Rufio corners the siblings. Appa and Aang arrive. They battle the bounty hunter and her evil rat thing. Poor Appa. Zuko and Aang fight and are pretty well matched, but again, it's Sokka's plan that saves them. After the fight, the three reconcile and leave together. Storytelling. There are two types of storytelling in this episode. First, testing allies and enemies. This is part of the overall hero's journey where the hero questions his friends and his quest and ultimately decides which is more important. Is he willing to sacrifice their happiness for his quest? It's that part in Lord of the Rings where Frodo tries to leave Sam, or part of Harry Potter where Harry goes on alone to get the Sorcerer's Stone, or the part in Star Wars where Luke leaves Yoda in order to save Han and Leia. When our hero chooses his friends or his quest, and his friends choose to go with him on his quest or to just look after themselves. The second storytelling technique is just story summarization. After several seemingly independent episodes, this is a good midpoint trick to remind the audience where we've been and a reinstatement of why the characters are doing what they're doing. The gang retells the stakes by having a flashback of Sokka seeing his father leave, reminding the audience of the high stakes and just how important Aang's mission is. And then you have Zuko going around to all the places they've been on their journey so far, showing just how much the group has been through together. It's a great idea to do the story summarization trope during the testing allies phase, because it's all about setting us up for the climax or the big boss fight. Storytelling at its finest. Okay, on to episode 16, The Deserter. In this episode, Aang is an idiot. Starting at the beginning, he convinces the gang to go to a Fire Nation celebration called the Fire Festival, even after they see a wanted poster of Aang on a bulletin board. Propaganda is all over the Fire Festival. Aang's an idiot again and uses airbending to quote-unquote save Katara, and they are once again running for their lives. We love Appa. And thanks to a defector Fire Nation soldier, they learn of a firebender who has left the Fire Nation and is now a wanted fugitive. Aang is anxious about the upcoming battle, and once they find the deserter, Aang begs him and tries to convince the bender to train him in firebending, which would normally be the last thing an avatar learns. However, the deserter flat out refuses because there's a reason that fire comes last in the training. He says fire comes from the breath, and you need a lot of self-control and discipline. it can be a curse, which really just makes me all the more impressed with Rufio. But finally, a vision of Avatar Roku convinces him to teach Aang, which I don't really get, but he teaches Aang the basics, and it goes about as well as you'd expect. Aang burns Katara, but turns out she has healing powers, which the deserter says is a rare gift that he wishes he had. We also learn that the old deserter was once Zhao's teacher, but Zhao has control issues. Shocking. Aang uses that against him when he shows up and attacks. He sinks his own ships and serves him right, you jerk. The teacher disappears and the gang is on their way once more, with Aang swearing he'll never firebend again. Storytelling. This is the Karate Kid trope. It's actually called the apprentice trope, but the Karate Kid is the most famous example. Learning things from a mentor who doesn't communicate to you what you're learning, and then, oh, look at that, everything you learned is now useful in the big boss fight. I like this episode, but mostly I just like that Zhao got his comeuppance. I really don't like that guy. On to episode 17. The Northern Air Temple. In this episode, Aang learns of airwalkers, people with flying machines. Thinking they might be airbenders, they go to find them in one of the old airbender temples, the Northern Air Temple. Aang immediately sees they aren't airbenders, but they decide to hang out anyway. They meet a kind, chair-bound boy whose father is crazy, but he's responsible for the flying machines as well as several other pieces of technology that they found in the city. Aang has a rough time when he sees the history of his people is now covered in steam pipes. Sokka is shown around the workshop and a gas-filled chamber under the castle. Thanks to Sokka, the flammable gas now smells like rotten eggs. Aang is shown the only part of the temple that is untouched. It's behind the cool door like the one in the other temple they visited. After a while, Aang agrees to open the door, only to find that the old man had been making weapons for the Fire Nation and hiding them in that room. Naturally, Aang freaks out, and they insult the Fire Nation representative who came for the weapons, and they go to war using the air. And while the single-file line of soldiers can't handle the slime bombs, the grappling hook tanks are a lot harder to defeat. Sokka and the inventor use the flying machine he created to bomb the tanks. Then Sokka smells rotten eggs, and he blows up the mountain using the gas, and Aang saves them both from the falling balloon. The Fire Nation retreats and they all celebrate their victory. However, while Aang comes to terms with the air temple being used as someone's home, and Sokka gives a rousing speech, the Fire Nation now has a deadly war balloon, which they're clearly foreshadowing is going to come up again. Storytelling. It's circle storytelling again with the eggs, which we've already talked about in earlier videos, but also coming to terms with the times. I kind of hate this trope, one, because I don't like change or letting go of things in general, but also because it's often done in a way that disrespects the past. And they kind of just say, get over it, move on, old man, like we learned nothing from Coco. They walked a fine line here, but I wasn't overly upset about how Aang handled it. I do think people should be more respectful of the past generations and learning history of a place whilst moving forward rather than just ignoring the fact that they're living in someone else's creation. But it can be both. Either way, the coming to terms with or changing of the guard trope is used to show characters' growth and to signal to the audience that things are about to change in a big way. It usually is with older characters and not 12-year-olds, but it reminds us that Aang is actually 112. We have to let go of the past first, so when Aang has to make a life-changing choice, he's already prepared. Because he has let go of the past and is accepting that things are going to be different now. I like that they've had several episodes about Aang having to come to terms with his past, because in reality this would take a long time. This episode mainly focuses on the changing of the guard and him letting go of his past, but we've had several instances where he's had to do that already. It's also a good world-building technique as we see the impact of the war and how it's affected technological advances. When war ends, we as a society often have huge jumps in technology because all the advanced weapons technology can now be applied to everyday items. But since this war has never ended, the technology has been focused on war machines for 100 years. So in a city with new technology, it makes sense that they would also be making weapons. Storytelling with realism. Okay, on to episode 18, The Waterbending Master. Aang and the gang finally find the North Pole and the Northern Water Tribe. Lots of waterbenders in this tribe, unlike the Southern tribe where Katara was alone. Ugh, Zhao.
Zhao is planning a full-scale attack to destroy the Water Tribe, because genocide is everyone's solution in this show. Sheesh.
Katara and Aang are excited to be taught by a waterbending master, and Sokka is excited by a princess. Zhao again. Ugh. Zhao figures out that Rufio is the blue spirit, and the pirates are back, the ones Katara ripped off, and Zhao hires them to off Zuko. Sokka asks the princess out. Cute. Katara learns that her grandparent is actually from the northern tribe and was engaged before she left, as the necklace was a signal of engagement. Poor Zuko has his crew stolen by the evil Zhao, who hired the pirates to blow up his ship. I hate this guy. Rufio better kick his butt. Zuko dies and Sokka gets dumped. Not my boy's best day. Anyway, Katara gets told women only heal and don't learn other bending beyond that. So women waterbenders of this tribe only heal. But the deserter guy said that Katara's ability to heal was special, and only some have it. Interesting. The old master refuses to teach Aang if he insists on Katara training too. Katara realizes it's more important for Aang to learn, so she agrees to learn healing. Then Aang and her train at night, which is all kinds of disrespectful to their culture, but the guy is such a jerk and doesn't explain any of their culture other than sexist remarks about going back to where she belongs, which is a phrase that really never is okay to say to anyone. Given his douchey behavior, Katara starts a fight with the old man, and she holds her own for a while, and her necklace comes off again. That thing is not secure. Plot twist, he's the jerk Grand dumped when she left the northern tribe for the southern tribe. Sokka finally gets a date with the princess, but plot twist, she's engaged. The episode ends with the old jerk training both Aang and Katara for reasons. Wait, why did he decide to train her? Anyway, plot twist, Zuko is alive and is stowaway on Zhao's ship, and Uncle Iroh is there undercover to help him.
Storytelling techniques. Plot twists.
I think everyone has heard this term, but we see several examples in this episode about the different types of plot twists. You have plot changing information reveal, you have fake out death, and you have an emotional upheaval.
Plot twists require foreshadowing and a reveal.
Katara's necklace is used to foreshadow both Katara's family connection to the jerk and Sokka's crush being engaged. However, Zhao's betrayal is mostly just that he's evil. But also, Zhao seeing the swords and knowing Rufio is the one who freed Aang was really all the information we needed. Katara's plot twist changes the story by revealing information about her past, showing she is part northerner and has potential to be both healer and fighter. Sokka's plot twist is an emotional upheaval, learning you've been lied to or misled by someone you're emotionally involved with. Rufio's plot twist is the fake out death, which is really a trick on the audience, and in this case the bad guy. Making the audience mourn a character really highlights the stakes of this war before revealing that they didn't actually die. Okay, that was episodes 15 through 18 of watching Avatar: The Last Airbender for the first time. Thanks for following along with me. The next one will be the season finale, part 1 and 2. As always, interact with this video if you'd like to see more like it. It helps the algorithm know who we are and who to recommend us to.
Be sure to subscribe as we upload our videos as soon as they're done.
And make sure you comment what I should be looking forward to in the next 2 episodes. Shout out to Lindsay K. Art. If you like our avatars, illustrations, or cool artwork, you can check out our Instagram, linked below. Thank you for watching Your Little Sisters Productions. I'm Taya.